to Savor the Southwest. We love to savor all sorts of herbs here. Went out in the garden, harvested a bunch of oregano and some rosemary and some basil and some epazote, which helps epazote, which helps pre-digest beans, and also got some garlic chives here. Just all these herbs growing in the garden, because if I'm going to water an herb, water any plant, I want it to look pretty, and this is nice and green and everything, but I also want to use it in the kitchen because I'm thrifty, and why just water stuff if I can't also use it? Some people say too thrifty. We won't go there. So here's my oregano harvest from a while ago, and how I dried most of this was actually in terracotta saucers. If you haven't seen that video, it's up there on YouTube somewhere, drying oregano. So once upon a time, this whole tray was full of oregano, and what happened was, over time it shrank away, and I said, hey, if you run out of these, it's COVID time when I'm filming this, you can just take like a bandana and put it in a cookie sheet or a cut down cardboard box and put your herbs in that to dry. And the idea is that the bandana or the terracotta help pull the moisture out of the herbs from below, and then our lovely dry southwest air pulls it out from above. Now notice, this is how easy it is to get your oregano off the stem. You hold it by the top, you pull it down. These oreganos have started to flower. Now, oregano flowers are actually a different flavor. And what you can do is save just the flowers, because they have some nectar in them, of course, so they're slightly sweet. The bees love them. And what you can do is, instead of saving leaves, I'm going to dump these out, you can save the flowers. Now they are going to take a little bit of cutting. Can you see they weren't pulling off, right? So I am going to just dry my oregano flowers in one container, and I'm going to dry my oregano leaves in another container. So, multiple thing here. Why do I not just do, oh, you know, I've seen them and they're so cute just hanging up out of the sky? The reason for this is, now, if you've dried your herbs like this and you try to get the oregano off there, what happens is the stem also tends to break. And I now have stem in my cooking. And that's not so fun to bite into. So you want to get the leaves off the stem to start with before you start drying. Okay? So that's the oregano. All this oregano, we'll use it in about 6 months, if that, maybe 4 months. We like oregano. It's a flavor we like. If you don't like oregano, don't do this, you know? I always tell people, plant what brings you joy. I should like trademark that or something, but plant what brings you joy, harvest what brings you joy, fill your freezer with whatever it is that brings you joy. Now, so some herbs you're going to dry, like the oregano. Some herbs you're going to freeze, like cilantro and parsley and epazote. And I'm going to show you, by the way, the after. Remember I had all those rose petals? I don't know if you remember, if you saw it. Rose petals. We are going to make a rose cordial from these later. Got a big old, once they're dry, I put them in here. When this is full, how am I going to store them, right? There's a lot there. Good old plastic bags do work. But here's the interesting thing. Flower beetles and there's a pantry moth. Both can chew their way into a plastic bag. So a plastic bag may not be the answer if you have either of those pests in your house. What you might want to do is repurpose something like a plastic bottle. You can, of course, use canning jars. Those are very good ways. But I'm going to have more rose petals. It'd take about 6 canning jars by the time I'm done. Coffee cans are great. The bugs can't chew their way through this thick plastic lid. Oh, and this is catnip. So, says so on the label. Remember I said a Sharpie is useful too? Silver Sharpies. So I have silver Sharpies and black Sharpies. They're very useful tools. But once your plants are dried, you can just store them. And what's really nice is if you have a lot of the same containers, we kind of like these, so you have a lot of these same containers, and that means they're going to stack nicely on the shelf because there's a number of the same containers. So lots of rose petals are going to be used in a lot of cooking, including I make a very nice rose jelly. I guess you should call it rose petal jelly. And go ahead and put what year you did this, and try to use all your herbs within 18 months. The oils break down. In some cases, the oils can break down in detrimental ways, and sage is one of those. We just posted about sage on our website. It's one of those things that is also a medicinal plant, and some of the compounds in there break down over time. So you want to use sage within a year and a half, kind of tops, maybe 2 years, and then just throw it out. Grow more. You can buy a sage plant at the supermarket, a plant with roots on it, and just put it out in your garden and grow it for a while. Or just buy the plant, bring it home, and process the leaves. Now, sage can be dried, rosemary can be dried. You can use it fresh too, of course. It's delightful that way. But rosemary, again, pull against from the tip down, because if you try to pull the other way, well, you can kind of get it, but it's a lot of, no, this one's not going. But if you turn it around and go this way, look at that. Stems, naked stem, lots of rosemary. And guess what people get for Christmas? They get like 3 jars. They're going to get a jar of oregano, a jar of rosemary, and then maybe, depending if I have enough, coriander, which is cilantro gone to seed. It's called coriander. And you just have like 3 little matching jars, and you can buy little sets of jars in the dollar store or something like that. And just makes a beautiful gift. And shame on me for not, having a little set here to show you. Here's another beautiful gift. Using honey in new and savory ways, written by myself and Monica King. Monica is a beekeeper, so she's been using honey all her life, but the idea is it's savory ways. It's not just in desserts. Yes, we have some pages of desserts because, of course, it's honey, but we also have pages of how to use honey in cooking other foods. Honey and salad dressing. There's a couple of dressings in there that are delicious. So on our website, hope you enjoyed this video. It's chaos, but that's how my kitchen often is. It gets really messy, the floor gets messy, you clean up your mess, and you cook on. All right, savor away. Thanks for watching.